Why do haters accept Black Widow and Scarlet Witch but not Captain Marvel? Hello folks, this is Joku from Villars or Worldwide. There are so many nice things happening regarding our adorable nerd that you may ask, why to insist on these unpleasant topics? Can we just move on? Well, there's a number of things that have not been discussed properly in YouTube as far as I know, and I think it will be a mistake not to do so. So, so it's funny that it took me all this time to understand why this is happening, and it is very silly indeed. But I finally understood why this happens, and it is because, well, of course, many of these trolls are affiliated with right wing groups that do not see either the empowerment of women or the inclusion of the race, they don't see it well. And if that sounds very far fetched, well, look at the actress. Look who went to shelter the actress who they do like, Gina Carano from The Mandalorian, with Ben Shapiro, a fan-right politician. Well, unlike Black Widow or Scarlet Witch, whose characters have always been women, that community hates not only that Carol has taken the place of a male character, Marvel, but they hate even more that the character, Marvel, is going to the oblivion, overshadowed by a woman, when traditionally the female version of the hero is seen as an accessory. Supergirl and Batgirl are condemned to live in the shadow of their male counterparts. Yep, it's that dumb. But after arguing with them in forums for years, since Captain Marvel was released 2 years ago, I've come to that conclusion. That is why they accept Black Widow or Scarlet Witch or Wonder Woman, because they do not feel them as usurpers. It may be a good idea to remember also this Collider article on how Kevin Feige put his job at risk for Captain Marvel and Black Panther. It took 20 films for the MCU to finally get around to making one with a woman, at the center, of course, 2019 Captain Marvel. But it wasn't for lack of trying. Indeed, an internal struggle waged inside Marvel for years, which is why it took so long for a female lead superhero movie to arrive from the studio. Mark Ruffalo in this article discussed in an interview with The Guardian how on the set of Marvel's The Avengers, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige was preparing to go to Disney to complain about the lack of female superhero movies. The problem? Marvel CEO I. Perlmutter. He remembers when we did the first Avengers, Kevin Feige told me, listen, I might not be here tomorrow. He was going to talk to Disney about the issue of why there were no female superhero movies, why they had been discussing, which they had been discussing while preparing for Thor Ragnarok. And he's like, Isaac Perlmutter, Disney's largest shareholder at the time, does not believe that anyone will go to a female starring superhero movie. So if I'm still here tomorrow, you will know that I won that battle. Perlmutter, executive with a background in the toy industry, controlled the keys to Marvel for years. And it was the roadblock preventing Feige from fully executing his vision. Indeed, he learned a few years later that Rebecca Hall, we learned a few years later that Rebecca Hall was supposed to be planning the main villain from Iron Man 3, until Perlmutter decided that kids wouldn't buy toys based on female characters, which explains why Hall's role in that film feels half-baked. Feige and Perlmutter butted heads for years as Perlmutter continually refused to greenlight Captain Marvel or Black Panther. In August 2015, Feige successfully lobbied Disney to restructure Marvel Studios. Going forward, Feige would report to Disney head Alan Horn instead of Perlmutter, and Perlmutter would have no more oversight over Marvel movies. He did, however, retain control over Marvel TV and comics. This is right around the time that development of Thor Ragnarok was underway, and is why that film feels like a fresh start from the MCU. Immediately, Feige got the green light to make Black Panther and Captain Marvel. So when we hear complaints from Black Widow or Scarlet Witch fans that Captain Marvel was the first movie with a female superhero, well, these fans owe a lot to Carol Danvers. If her movie had been a flop, like the haters expected, Black Widow wouldn't have her own movie or Scarlet Witch wouldn't have had her series. Before Carol, female characters were more a quote of gender or plot devices, something for the story to happen or for things to happen. But they very rarely intervened centrally and directly in what happened. That job was usually for the MCU Trinity, Captain America, Thor, or Iron Man. So fans of these characters owe a lot to Carol Danvers. So that's my opinion on this. I now want to know yours. What do you think? Please let me know in the comments. This was Joku from Real Arson Worldwide. Keep loving Bree.